Building a SharePoint New Site Form lookalike, that's the subject of the talk today. I am Martin Lingstuyl from the Netherlands. I'm an MVP in M365 development. I'm also a Microsoft 365 architect at a great small company in the Netherlands called I4U Business Solutions. And my daughter just drew this the other day, so I thought I'd show you. You can even see that she heard that I was an MVP. So if you want to follow me, just look me up in all the socials, or I've got a blog where I post some things, and I also posted some things about the subject of today. So the scenario. So SharePoint contains, of course, some lovely features like creating a great looking site in minutes. You get this nice wizard form that lets you create a nice site with a good looking URL and group mailbox, which is superb, of course. But for many organizations, this is, of course, a bridge too far. They feel like the creation of sites should be restricted because it often leads to a ginormous mess. And they are not wrong. I've seen it happen with a lot of our customers. So these organizations apply governance rules, disabling self-service site creation, one of the first things to go. Restricting access for creating sites to people with the appropriate admin permissions. So far, so good, but now they require a good process to help users get to those new sites, to let them request new sites in an orderly fashion and not they need to go to the IT support desk and, knock on the door, who's home, can someone create a site for me? Now, you can, of course, do all this manually, but it's also a great area to apply automation to. So, and plenty of solutions have sprung up to fill these requirements. They allow users to request new sites in an orderly fashion with approval, different site templates, etc., etc. For example, a very well-known one, of course, from the Microsoft 365 platform community is the Provision Assist solution, which I can safely reference without the danger of product placement, I guess. So this is recently published and provides a very nice experience in Teams, combining a Power App for user input and Logic apps for automation, etc., for exactly this purpose. But of course, we can also do it in different ways. So what I'll be showing you today is a way to allow users to request new sites based on a SharePoint list and list form. It does not actually create the sites, it just allows the possibility to log the requests in an orderly fashion. And that's what this solution is about. So this is what you need. You need, of course, a SharePoint list to save site requests. You need a SPFx extension, a form customizer, and you need a very nice control from another open source repo in the Microsoft 365 community, a dynamic form, which you can find on the site as well. And the dynamic form is really a fantastic thing. And I would like to show you how it works. It's a very easy way to generate an entire form for you without writing so much as multiple lines of code. So let me just jump over to what I have here. So as you can see, I've got a VS Code open on my screen. This is what I just did was generate a very basic form customizer SharePoint framework extension. So this is a solution as you get it when you create it, using the Yeoman templating. When you run this and apply it to a SharePoint list form, this is what you get. So it's completely empty, right? So it's very nice that we have been offered this opportunity to create new forms, but you have to implement everything yourself, from loading the list item to viewing, rendering the fields, to saving the list item back. Everything, you need to do everything yourself. So the dynamic form is actually something that's very easy to snap in here and get a fully functional form. So let me just jump back into VS Code and show you how this can be done. If I just paste this in, this is the dynamic form. There's one line of code. Of course, I have to reference the dynamic form from the package that I have also, of course, installed just now. And if I now save it, it will look like this. So this is just a fully functional form which is loaded or generated by the dynamic form based on the fields or of metadata that are available in my list. Now you can see that all kinds of scenarios you can use this for. This is really brilliant. Currently, I've just added a few fields. You know, there's a URL field, there's a people picker, there's a term store picker. Everything works like a glove. And if you hit save, you can just automatically save it back to the list. So this is really a very cool thing. So let me jump back to the presentation, because having seen this, how can we use this to create a new site form? What we need is an easy form with metadata, just like what we have seen. It should also have similar features as the out-of-the-box form, which we have of which I have a picture right here. So I want to be able to write a name of the site and for it to validate if that URL is available to us, and to validate if that group mailbox is available to us. This I want to do. So for this to work, you would need to alter the functionality of the dynamic form a bit. Fortunately, there's a few fantastic features in a dynamic form that allows you to do this. And this is called, these are called the field overrides. So this is actually just a thing an object you can inject in your dynamic form, and you can say, you know, if the list contains this field with this internal ID called some field in the screen here, let SPFx render it like this. And I've just returned a render field function here, but you can go nuts on that. You can generate entire React XML or React nodes and do all kinds of things that you think about. So the field overrides, this is really powerful. You can do all kinds of things with this. And the second thing you need is, you can just include it like this. The second thing you need is a couple of events, and those are also available. There's a list item loaded event and a before submit event. And using these events, you can take care that the data that's coming from the list form is being shaped to fit in your rendered field. And you can use the state for that. And when saving the form, you can make sure that the data is shaped back into the data shape that SharePoint will expect. So combining these two things, you can make a fantastic form. So let me just show you how that works. I've got another solution open here. And this is actually just in the, I've submitted this to the SPFx extension samples repo, so you can download it over there. As you can see, this dynamic form is a bit bigger. It contains a couple of extra properties. But if I run this, it will look as follows. So as you can see, this is the same form that I had just now. It's actually rendering on the same list. And I've got a few interesting features here. I can just type in a title. So let's say, how shall I call this test? I'm very creative today. Now you can see that that the form is looking up if this URL is available, and it will just show more or less like how the SharePoint new site form works as well. It will show you that the URL is indeed available and that the group alias is available. And if I like to do it in a different way, I mean, I have got some other sites I can just try out if those are available, and you'll see that it will check. And you'll see that it will say, you know, this one is not available, but you can modify it and use, and it will just add a 2. This is actually just output from SharePoint APIs that I've just connected to this form customizer, and it's showing that in the form. And if I would click save, it would just save the content to the list. So as you see, this is very powerful. We've got a very simple form. For the most part, this will be rendered exactly as the list is built up. And for the parts that I want to change, I can just change them up and be creative about it and create something very nice looking with which we can generate proper requests for new sites. Just a quick word on the API. So there is this. I just checked. There's no. I think no public APIs for this, but I just checked the actual new site form for SharePoint, and it contains a couple of endpoints that you can use to validate if a group name can be used, to validate if a site URL can be used. And these two, I just implemented these two and hung them up in my solution. Of course, if Microsoft changes something up about one of these, then it might be that my solution drops out on me. Because it's not a public API, there's no backwards compatible or backwards whatever on it. No guarantees from Microsoft. So you need to be you need to keep that in mind. But still, it's a very useful API to use. If you want to see how I did it, just look up any of these two folders in the SPFx extensions repo. I've got one on the dynamic site form, and I've got a simpler setup for a location picker, which just shows how you can use the dynamic form in another simple way. And I've also included some of these documentation points. Well, I think that is it. Back to you, Chris, right?